Welcome to episode 3 of the Living Stones edition of the Rock Class videos. Coming up in this video, we will continue our look at the Sermon on the Mount and show the importance of exercising self-control beginning in our hearts. Hey there, welcome back to another Rock Class videos Living Stones editions. These videos are designed to help you, the Christian, to live your life faithfully before God. In our previous video, we talked about the importance of you being the light of the world, the salt of the earth, how it is important that you have a good influence upon people who are around you, helping to lead them to Christ even. And then we talked about the importance of your righteousness exceeding the righteousness of the Pharisees by choosing a righteousness that is according to God's standard and not the standards of man. In this video, I'd like to stay again in the Sermon on the Mount. And we're going to consider two sections of this Sermon on the Mount. One, where it shows the importance of you getting along with other people, even if it means acknowledging that you've done something that is wrong, and controlling how we behave by controlling even what we think and the importance of that. So let's go ahead and pick up in Matthew chapter 5, and let's read verses 21 through 26, and if you would, follow along on the screen beside me. Jesus says, "You have heard that it was said of those of old, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment.' But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. And whoever says to his brother, 'Raca,' shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, 'You fool,' shall be in danger of hell fire. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift before the altar and go your way. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Agree with your adversary quickly while you are on the way with him, lest your adversary deliver you to the judge hand you over to the officer, and you be thrown into prison. Surely I say to you, you will by no means get out of there till you have paid the last penny." Now, in this section of the Sermon on the Mount, when we begin there in verse 21, Jesus approaches it by getting to the heart of really what causes problems between individuals. The hearers of this message had often heard that it said that you shall not murder. And if you murder someone, you'll be in danger of the judgment. But what Jesus does here is he rolls this back to the heart, to how we view other people. As a matter of fact, if you would, to how we allow anger to either control us or not control us. Notice what Jesus said there. "But I say to you that whoever is angry at his brother without a cause," notice that, "whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment." So what Jesus has done is he's taken what they've normally heard, if you murder someone, you'll be in danger of the judgment. And he says, no. If you are angry with someone without a cause, then you're in danger of the judgment. And then he goes one step further. If you say, "You empty head," that's kind of the idea behind the word "raca," then you'll be in danger of the council. But then he says, if you say, "You fool," you'll be in danger of hell fire. And the idea there of "you fool" is kind of different than what we would normally associate with that word. It is a full-on, out-and-out contempt being shown and expressed for the individual that you are talking to. You're using these words to hurt and to harm. The Apostle Paul in Colossians chapter 5, beginning there in verse 8 and following, he deals with anger getting out of control and us using a type of language that is hurtful, that is harmful. And so this is the idea here that he's talking about. We need to be willing and able to control our anger when we are talking with other people, dealing with other people. It's important that we don't set ourselves up to be a recipient of a false charge or a charge. And what I mean by that is what he goes on to in the next section here. If you know that your brother has something against you, it is better to go ahead and settle the problem before trying to worship God. Maybe you did offend your brother. Maybe you did act out of anger. Then you need to make sure that you resolve the situation before you go to worship God. It is better to have two brethren who are supposed to be in fellowship with one another because of their fellowship with Christ, reunited because the sin has been dealt with. It is better to have that than two brethren at odds trying to worship God together. That's kind of the point there that he is making. And especially if you are guilty, you need to have this reconciled before it gets too far along that you cannot resolve the situation. So that's the first section there that I wanted to consider, verses 21 through 26. A real brief look at that and how it will help you to live a better life as a Christian, as a child of God. But real quick, consider now verses 27 through 30. This still talks about controlling our behavior, but from a little bit different standpoint. Follow along if you would. You have heard that it was said to those of old, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for your whole body to be cast into hell. Now again, we have a sin against someone else, but it's a sin that begins within the mind. Jesus said, you've heard it said that you shall not commit adultery. But what Jesus does, much like with the previous example, he goes back to the heart of the problem. And so he tells a man to control what you think. Because if you look at a woman to lust after her, then you've already committed adultery with her. You've already committed a sin against the woman in your mind. You've already sinned before God. And so he's saying you need to stop it in your heart. You need to stop it in your mind. And do not allow those thoughts to develop and to take form within the recesses of your mind. Now, this is why this is so crucial. We're wanting to spend eternity with God in heaven. I know you are. That's why you became a Christian, a child of God. But it is important that we exercise control over the way that we live our lives. Now, he illustrates this control in a very hyper way, if you would, to get the point across of the level of importance that we're dealing with here. And here's what he said. If your right eye causes you to sin, pluck it out and cast it far from you. Now, I do not believe Jesus was literally saying, pluck your eye out, because really the eye's not the problem. It's the brain, it's the mind, it's the heart. But it's the idea of getting control over your life. We need to be willing to remove from our life anything that is causing us to sin against God. And the best way of doing that is, of course, controlling our own selves. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and cast it from you. For it is more profitable for you that one of your members perish than for the whole body to be cast into hell. It's better for you and I to give up something that is causing us to sin than to live the rest of our life with the sin and it costs us eternity with God in heaven. So I'd like for you to think about those two things. Serving God faithfully is what we as Christians do. But in that service of our Heavenly Father, we must control the way that we live our lives. And we do that by putting Him first and worshiping Him only and controlling what we think, controlling the way that we live our lives to live in a way that God will find pleasing in His sight. Thank you so much for your wonderful attention. Next video, we'll continue our look at the Sermon on the Mount and how we can use this lesson to help you and I to improve our lives as God's children. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next Rock Class video, Living Stones edition. Have a great day.